Okay, we ready to start? I have one more coming, but she'll be along.
We're missing one.
We're missing one also. So-
Yeah,
Okay.
you expect him along?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay, well, we'll get started. So welcome to the joint meeting between the town and village boards. For those of you that haven't made it to one of these before, we try to do this at least 4 times a year. Sometimes it only works out to be 3, but it's our opportunity to work on some things that are of interest to both of us. So we will start off with public comment, as we do in the beginning of our meetings. The format for public comment is we just ask that you state your name, where you live, and we allow about 3 minutes for anyone to make a comment on anything that's of interest to them. If it's on the agenda, that's fine. It's not a question and answer period, but we're here to listen to your comment. So who would like to go first if there's public comment?
I'm Jane Lammers, I'm from Canton, and I'm just here partly to be in solidarity with those people who have physical limitations and are concerned about the accessibility of this building. You know, like most people who have no limitations, I just go around leaping over things, doing whatever's necessary, and it really is good to think about how difficult it is for some people. If either in a wheelchair or using crutches or whatever the case may be. So, I didn't really even notice what was available in this building before we had the complaints that came through. And when I looked at the, ratings, they said one is for 350 pounds and the other one is for 450 pounds. And apparently some wheelchairs now weigh 400 pounds. So I guess other than where the assists are, I guess it also needs to be taken into consideration what would be the maximum weight limit to accommodate this new type of building.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Jeff Reitman Snyder, Executive Director of the Independent Living Center in Messina, St. Lawrence, Franklin, Essex and Lewis counties. We're a disability rights organization here run people with disabilities. One of our mandates is to advocate and encourage compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, Fire Prevention and Uniform Building Code. Advocate and encourage first. And I will tell you that one of the reasons that I'm here tonight was I saw in the newspaper that the town and village board would be discussing the handicap accessibility of this building. But I don't see it on the agenda. And certainly what I have to say would take a little bit longer than 3 minutes. I will say that I came over and I had what I thought was a pleasant conversation with Mayor Dalton Monday. And I can tell you that within 5 minutes of entering this building, here's what I can tell you about this building. It's a mess. It's a mess. And I know this isn't a question and answer period, but I know one of the requirements of local government, and this was 36 years ago, that this requirement, I know you folks weren't here, so I'm not pointing fingers. You were to have a self-assessment, an ADA self-assessment of this building, what needs to be done. Because one of the things that was talked about in the paper, was, it would cost too much to renovate this building. And it would cost too much to build a new building. So where's that leave us? Well, how do we know what it would cost to renovate? Has anybody gone through and looked at the accessibility? And if so, can I see the plan? And if you don't have a plan, I'm here to offer you free of charge to do this architectural barrier assessment. I won't tell you what it costs, but I'll tell you what needs to be done. I also think, and I don't see too many of them here tonight, but I did see them on Facebook. And I did read the articles that there's a whole bunch of people with disabilities that I'm pretty sure are gonna not let this lie. I'm looking forward to joining up with them. I don't wanna run that show, but I will help them in their endeavor. I think their endeavor is to look at their town hall as an opportunity to participate as equal members of society. And a town hall is that focal point for their involvement in local government, for you to demonstrate that, you value all your citizens. So I guess, within my 3 minutes, I would like to say that maybe a good first start would be to do this assessment, do it on your own, whatever. But then start working with these people and show them that you're committed to actually doing something. That's it.
Thank you, Jeff.
My name is Rebecca Pillay.
Sorry.
My name is Rebecca Pillay. I live in Colton. I work in City, Canton. I organize in the North Country, talking wherever I can to people whomever I can to shift some narratives, to shift some perspectives, and that's what I'm hoping to do here. I, like many of you, read the article in the New York Times, in the Watertown Times. I was very upset. For me, naively, I thought, I guess like some people think about racism and the Civil Rights Act, I was guilty of thinking that after the ADA laws would pass, that all buildings would be accessible. I was horrified to hear this. And what I want to say is, and as I read that, the not having funds and wanting a new building, and it's either all or nothing, that is the way we try to solve every problem here, which is why we are in the messes that we are. Now, I will say, when I heard all these excuses, they were excuses to me. It was someone who, there was a group, a population that wasn't being served. And instead of saying, I'm sorry, how can I fix this? It was all kinds of excuses. We don't have the money, we don't have this, we tried this and all of that. 36 years is unacceptable for something to go unaddressed. So, as I read it and as I thought about it, as many people, when they see someone like me being hired in a position, when they see a woman and a woman of color or a person of color, they always talk about, was it a DEI hire? Was this an incompetent person who was hired because of how they looked or what they represented? Well, my question to you is, were these people who are making these decisions and these excuses for not fixing the problem and just giving people access, which is their right, was this person who made these excuses a privileged hire? Or were they a mediocre person who was connected? So nepotism hire. Was that what happened here? And I am pointing fingers. You now know that this problem exists, and I'm asking all of you to fix it. We all are going to be, I know that I certainly am, going to be here watching how this problem is fixed. And I hope that you can show me your integrity, because I know that I have integrity. I hope that you can show me your integrity, stand for the people of Potsdam, the people of the North Country, because many of us use the buildings here, and do something to fix it. You don't have to get a brand new building. You can take a little corner and put a shaft in and make a lift. You can build a ramp, which is what they did at the St. Lawrence pool. Do something. Don't just say we cannot do it because we don't have the budget. I am upset because people have been marginalized and haven't been taken seriously, and their dignity has been stripped. And I fight every day for the dignity of people. And I hope that you would listen.
Thank you.
My name is Kate Fagerland. I live in Canton, and this is my daughter Phoebe, Miss. She also lives in Canton. Their family. And I was here, spoke, last meeting as well. So I know I shared those notes, so. Hey, didn't see you coming that way. But, the situation is unacceptable with the accessibility in this building. Oh, me? I know that's why I'm talking about it. I mean, even just today, there's a wheelchair lift. I checked the agenda that the meeting would be here and the back door was locked. Apparently there's some sort of buzzer, but it just looks like a card access. So I had to get someone to let me in. For a meeting about accessibility, in this building. Not impressed. Well, sweetie. Did I really get you there? We might be leaving soon, but she's gonna be okay. Yeah, just the accessibility is unacceptable. I had spoke last time I was here that, this is a recurring issue for us in lots of places that we go. And I was just speaking with one of her, someone who knows her school program and said that they, in fact, her class had a field trip here and they had to restructure the field trip for her entire class. To avoid the areas of the building that are inaccessible. So I assume that they were learning probably about something about the police department or, local government. And that lesson had to be restructured because those spaces were not accessible to show her entire class because the disabled student in the class, rather than exclude her, they restructured the entire trip around presumably showing them different parts of the government. So, not great, not great. So, and then, wanted to recap for a few people who weren't there as well and mention some other people last time had suggested. I mean, I think a great solution would be to get an elevator, in this building. That would solve all problems, but there's a lot of solutions that can happen in the meantime. Getting having meetings in an accessible location. This room, as we talked about with the lift, kind of somewhere. Not great, but it's better than upstairs. Having meetings more accessible, having the parking placards available in the clerk's office, directly. And the other thing is the issue with the parking, the parking spots, the margins are not ADA compliant. That would be a simple one to just move where the lines are, make one margin between the two wheelchair accessible spots, and then that problem could be fixed. So that's three things that could be fixed, pretty simply. Moving the meetings, moving the and those meetings, if they're not in this space, they could be moved to a space that the town or village could rent from another accessible building in the area. So moving the meetings, moving the parking placard, and fixing the parking. And maybe not locking the door. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Anything
you.
else want to add, Pete?
Okay.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to follow up and say, I would like to work with whoever it is that will be putting together this, plan. Who would I communicate that with?
You're doing it now.
So we will be working together?
Well, all I'm saying is your comments here are being noted, as everyone, and the supervisor and I will be talking a little bit further down in the agenda about some of these things.
How you doing? My name is Henry Sid. I live in Pierpont, but my mailing address is Canton. And as far as the steps and that, and for the handicapped people, in this day and age, where they're advertising on TV for people to put elevators in their homes, it's a shame that Con can't come up with an elevator. I mean, God knows if they're advertising them for private individuals in their home, I'm sure Tom, this size, should be able to afford to have an elevator put in. If you had a judge in here that was God forbid something happened to your judge, they got put in a wheelchair, I guarantee you'd have access for the judge. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Canton. What I was here to say pales in comparison to what's just been said. I'm not gonna talk about the handicap accessibility, not that it's not a big issue, because it is, it's huge, and I've noticed it for a long time, but you've all said things very well. I don't know if what's on the agenda is what I'm going to say right now, I can only assume. When you talk about, discussing the flags out front, it's gonna happen with them. I can only assume that it has to do with the big old flagpole out front where the old McDonald's used to be. Which has traditionally over the last years been used during June, to raise the pride flag. Is fine, as far as that goes. My feeling though is, and I communicated this with Mr. Dalton way last fall, just made a suggestion at that point that because that flagpole is such a prominent part of our town, drive in, you see it, it's right there. Then it would be wonderful if a great big American flag was there. I wasn't even thinking about the 250th year at that point, it really wasn't. I just thought a nice big flag would be beautiful, it'd be downtown, so one of the highest spots on our main street. And I was told that the building committee would discuss it. They got back to me and said no. That had been decided that it was gonna be used, in June for Pride, month. Because it did not have light on it, which was not able to be put on it. There was no light to be put on it. In order to have an American flag put on it and left up, it had to have a light on it. Which I then discussed or decided or realized when I came through maybe a week and a half later, that right out front of our building, it did not have a light on flag. There was no light on flag. Interestingly enough, maybe a week later, there was. Okay, so maybe it was overlooked that all this years or whatever it was, that there was no light on it. The flag that's out there right now, the commemorative flag is fine. It does not have to have a light on it. American flag would. All right, I'm hoping that the commemorative flag stays there through the year. I mean, it is 250 year, not just one day or 1 month. My hope is that we continue by putting a light up on there. Seems simple enough to put one here, seems like it's simple enough to put one there, just a solar one. And put a nice big American flag up there and keep it flying. I know we have one in front of this building, I understand that. In the summer, you can't see it, it's covered by trees, you don't see it, that's a very prominent spot. So if this is what you're going to talk about, that's my opinion, take it, leave it, whatever, but. That's what I get. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, my name is Greg, and I spoke on the credibility and accessibility issue a couple weeks ago. But I'd like to address another issue today. It was in the May 6th issue of the North Country This Week. They announced the village had gotten a grant for composting. And 2 days will be 3 months. I noticed in last week's issue of North Country This Week, they announced that Stan would be implementing a composting program, and I think they got their grant afterwards. Canton did. So I'd just like to follow up on that. Question of why this the delay happened. What's going to be done about it?
Thank you. Anyone else? Going twice? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you, everyone. Next item, there was an update on 19 Minor Street and its demolition. On the drive, I put a copy of the site plan and how the what the plan looks like in terms of timing. And we've already talked to the Vecino Group about how this is going to work. They're looking at starting in mid-August, getting set up, starting with fencing. the abatement contractor will be in sometime around the end of August. And then, the demo contractor will be in probably, mid-September. Along with the abatement contractor. So it'll be a process that will go along until close to the end of October is what we're told. And the schedule that I have. If, so for the board, I put it on the drive so you can see it. I don't know, did you guys see it? On the town side?
No.
I know you've been interested and I'll pass this down to you so you can take a peek at it, but, that will be all fenced in. The casino will be talking to, the neighbors, including the post office, so. Any questions? And that's the timeline right there is the way they've got it set up. Lee and I spent some time with the developers the other day, going over the plan. Is there anything that needs to be added to that, Lee?
Oh, there's where my trouble is.
Parking's gonna be interesting for a little bit.
At Fine Winter Street.
Yes.
Got it. All right, I see that. Yep, it will be, parking will be, not terrible, but
Well,
it's
we
gonna.
have to accommodate the post office.
Yeah.
And we will, get that taken care of. Was that? Did Jeff leave that?
He wants it for you, yeah.
Okay. Jeff left this?
Yes,
Okay.
You want more? I can.
Yeah, drop a couple more off, please.
yeah, I'll have one for the town side.
Thank you. Our conversation amongst us, Jeff, on the subject is under a general heading of municipal building needs, because we had several needs that we
Oh,
need.
you will be talking about?
Well, we're gonna briefly talk about it, yeah. There were several things, if you wanna stay, that's fine, it's up to you.
Oh, yeah, okay, I don't know.
Thanks. I didn't call that one out just completely independently, because we had several things to talk about.
I did not read my speech.
Oh, well. Are there any questions on the board? Okay.
Yeah.
We asked Lee to give us a brief update on the comp plan. Where we're at with the comprehensive plan. Lee?
We had the update done, I think that was the end of 24, so I got
Yeah, it
finalized.
seemed like that.
And, in early January, we did an internal update to the matrix, just the spreadsheet with the goals and projects and things. And we use it on a regular basis. It's intended to be roughly a 10-year document. So it was updated in about 5 years. So probably in another, we'll be looking to start the update process again, but we use it all the time. Some people may think it's just a document that sits on a shelf, but it's very relevant to what our office does. And to any funding requests that we make. We have to point to that document to, if it's something that our community has made a priority of and wants to see happen. So it's an important document for us.
So anytime you're applying for a grant, it's good that you have the document available. Do they normally ask? Most generally they ask, do you have a copy?
They ask where our proposed project fits into the plan.
It's in.
So it's been used on all of our grant applications pretty much, or whether it's the town side or the village side.
And if it didn't exist, we would be less able to apply for grants, correct?
Less successful probably, yeah.
So we'd be looking at having an update done by 29.
I believe it was completed in 2019, so,
Okay,
and it takes a while for it to. I'll look at the document again and see if it has a recommended time frame, but my recollection is that it's roughly a 10-year document.
we put a lot of effort into it, I know, leading
Yeah,
up to it, public hearings and everything.
Absolutely, it's a time-consuming process. So it would probably take a year and a half at least to do an update to it, and then if funding cycle, maybe it's something we look to
try to get funding for in next year's grant cycle.
Because that would be the right timing, right?
And since it's been done, we've had 6 community solar projects that have been installed, 5 of them that are up and running. The EDF one, or whoever they are now, KKR, I guess is who they are. That one there is, I mean, we addressed solar in the document, but it's been since that document was approved that this has all happened.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's quite a bit in the document with regard to Taylor Park. We all know what the situation is there. So, yeah, they can see an update is. Guess that, yeah, it's 10 year.
Either board have any more questions for Lee?
I do.
Go ahead.
So we did the update at the end of 2024 and just updated the matrix. If we wouldn't be doing a full update until 2028, 2029, given all of the changes and updates and the work that continues, should we do another update before we actually do a full
Do like a
comprehensive plan again?
Well, and
I don't know.
I
mean,
think,
that's
I think we have to depend on Lee to say, listen, we got some holes here in what we're looking to do. You know, I don't know.
And if
It's up
a
to the board.
comprehensive plan takes a year and a half, our timeline is pretty short, like, right? Wouldn't we start it in like a year-ish? Yeah. Like,
Well, she said apply for the grants next year. and
Right.
then Subsequent to that, start it.
right,
Because
because we
the
would
survey
want,
round is due on Friday this year, so it's something.
It's not happening this.
right,
What I would say about the plan is that the matrix is sort of a living part of the document and it's fluid in that things are gonna come and go from it. A lot of the goals and things in the plan. There are some things that come and go. There's a lot of consistency. Some of the bigger things obviously either fall off or get done. But the matrix is the action plan really that, we try to look at it every year and go through and update it, and we did do that as the Economic Development Steering Committee, at least the
Right.
portions that were relevant to us. And update it from that perspective with status of different projects.
So we'll be doing that again prior to a whole. For sure.
Yeah, the one we got, we created, we didn't have anything to work with, so we created it. Now that we've got it, all we need to do is basically update it. But you're not wrong, Anna, that, you know, and I don't know whether it'd be that was a committee by itself.
yeah,
Comprehensive Plan Committee. This here might be something that could just as easily be done by the Economic Development Committee.
Well, it's not a stationary, just to say that, it's not, wasn't developed and sat there. We go over it. We've updated it and we're looking at it as economic development steering often. I mean, we spend time going over
well,
it. And
Okay,
so it wasn't developed and like Lee said, hasn't been developed and sitting on a shelf.
yeah.
okay. Anything else from the board, either board? Okay, we'll move on. The next item, was discuss municipal building needs. It was pretty much a catch-all to put on there. You know, first and foremost is the handicapped accessibility of this place and, you know, how we're going to proceed. As, you know, a town and village, how best to proceed. I think it's gonna take a little bit of effort. Jim, I don't know what your thoughts are. We've heard quite a bit over the, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, have we been lax? Yeah, but again, you know, we might go 2 years. And so we get maybe a little flat there because we don't see anybody. Nobody shows up to our meetings. We have a lot of meetings. It happened that the data center public hearing raised a lot of concerns, and people showed up. We have people come in, we work with them. All of our department people know that if somebody comes in,
they'll normally come in, they can get in the front doors, they can go to either the village clerk's office or town clerk's office. If they wanna see a code enforcement officer, town clerk, get a hold of code enforcement officer, they'll come down and meet with them and take care of whatever it is, and so, and we have been getting by, which is not a good way to put it, but we have been. And there are, how many different studies? Like you said, you might be able to point your finger at me because I've been around here for 35 years. But, and I can remember working on that myself. And that's been in here.
Quite a while.
Yeah, that's been in here well over 30 years. And so, it hasn't been in all of our plans that we have looked at, and we've shelved probably how many building committee or building studies.
Yeah.
Is it, can we discuss? Is it a discussion or?
No, well,
Just, and so we understand that we definitely have faults. I know Mike has been in contact with a vendor. That's the same one that has that lift and the one that we have that goes up to the courts and goes to the upstairs. That same vendor has, I don't know if you talk pricing about getting something to get from that floor space upstairs up to that boardroom up there.
Okay. Your building is inaccessible. When I came here, I looked at that lift, I was on my scooter, I refused to ride down it. Scares the heck out of me, and I had 110 acres of tractor, I didn't wanna ride down that thing. The stair lift in there is yellow. They haven't made that color yellow, I don't even think my grandmother had that color yellow with plastic.
That lift
that lift is not that old.
that was put in within the last,
8 years, maybe.
yeah, it's gotta be within the last eight.
At any rate, we recognize
Yeah.
that there's limitations here. And we are going to pursue, looking at other options and to develop a plan as you know, it's been requested. And that would be, you know, how we would like to approach this. We will seek input.
I think it would go a long ways to fixing some of the PR to embrace this group of people who want to see handicap accessibility improved here. Not, you know, because this represents the town and village. This is like the beacon.
And I think we understand that.
Okay.
You know, as I said in the last public hearing, when it was just a village board, you know, we heard the people that were here to speak. And as the town sits here with us, I think we have to come up with a plan on how we're gonna move forward. I think Jim and I have talked since our meeting. We have a building committee that I think we're going to assign it to, and we're gonna meet and, you know, drill down on what has to happen and how we can make it happen. Whether it's the little things or, you know, big things. And one idea was an elevator. You know, we would have to take a look at what an elevator would take. And we need to, you know, look at the other access points we have here and egress points that we have here.
Just to give you an example of close enough isn't good enough, is that front ramp coming up into here. I assume code, right? Code approved it. And I don't know when it was built, but you have the button to operate the power doors in the middle of the ramp on the slope. So now you're tooling up in your wheelchair. You stop the wheelchair in the middle of the slope. You hit the button. You hope you don't roll back down into to the road, or you gotta start up from a dead stop on a slope. So when we talk about doing the little things, if you're gonna do the little things, they have to be done right.
And like I said, we've heard, you know, the comments we heard, you know, at our last meeting, and they're hearing it tonight. So, and this is normally not a discussion, at our meetings here. We've allowed you to speak, but this is our meeting that we discuss between us on how we're gonna approach things. So we're trying to be as open as we can here. And, you've provided us with documents, and I think that the building committee is gonna sit down and gonna look at these things and come up with a plan. That's really what we have to do. Whether it's some smaller things that we can accomplish quickly and, more long-term things that we have to, focus on.
I just want to say that, this is important, and we appreciate that you're here. And I appreciated a couple weeks ago when we were here, and there were a number of people who are different people, telling us their personal stories and, letting us know what their challenges are. I want you to know that, I've got family members who are in wheelchairs. I'm committed to, we will advocate. And I want that to be heard, that we're committed to making improvements.
Yeah, I'm not here to be argumentative. I'm not here to point fingers. I can tell you, I've had a disability all my life. I'm 65 years old. So I live in a world that doesn't fit me. So I've been at my job for 40 years as a disability rights advocate. So I was working before the Americans with Disabilities Act, and I'm proud to say that I was part of how it got passed. So I'm pretty committed to this idea, and I'll tell you how I ended up here real quick, and I know this is a discussion, and I'm taking up people's time. I came here because I got a call from my colleague out in Watertown. There's 37 centers like mine, advocates. Oh my God, Jeff, did you see Facebook? This was 11 o'clock at night, and I go on Facebook and I saw that. Well, I couldn't get over here for those meetings. My friend wanted to know what I was gonna do, so they were gonna come over from Watertown. And what did I say? Yeah, it's 36 years from the ADA. Blame you folks for not on day one making, the accessibility? No, you weren't here. But you have people now that are saying, please do this. And it's please do it at first. And can you imagine, you talk about the cost of this building versus the new building, what the cost would be if someone using a wheelchair came and got hurt in a building that was supposed to be, but isn't ADA compliant. Then you'd be talking some real money. And like I said, I want to be helpful. I want to be helpful. This group, I'm going to get with them. I'm going to tell them, you're just going to, I'll tell you what I'm going to tell people. You don't go into the pound the table. We do this first meeting. Try to help and work. Fist pounding has to happen. That'll come with it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay. Good. We're gonna leave.
You can stay, it doesn't matter. Are we in agreement, Jim, that we're gonna move this over to the building committee to?
Yeah, that's where it belongs. It's usually the building committee that does all the research,
Yeah.
gets all the numbers and whatever, and then makes the recommendations back to both boards. So that's where it should go, because 2 from the town and 2 from the village are on the building committee, and
Okay.
that's the way we've always done it in the past, so.
Did you have something to say? Oh, okay.
I mean.
You
if
drew
it's-
a breath, it was like you're ready to talk.
I am, but I can wait to let you finish as well.
Oh, that's fine.
I mean, I guess what I want to say is I wasn't here at the last village meeting. And so, I am grateful to hear from folks who came tonight. Having been on the board now for 6 years, I can appreciate how it happens that these things don't get addressed. I understand how that happens, and it isn't because of, any person's bad intentions. It's because we have really flawed systems. But that's not an excuse. It's our job to keep the focus and keep the priority on serving the needs of everybody in the community. And so I appreciate that this issue has been raised and brought to us. And I know that my colleagues on both boards will work to address it. And I'm on the building committee and we will take this issue up with seriousness.
Anybody else?
Like, this young lady here has had her hand up and wants to speak.
Yeah, I know it's not really this, but I just wanted to say, you said you have your building committee at 2 and 2. Would it make sense to have someone, you know, on the committee or just?
The building committee will decide.
Yes, okay.
That's,
If they're gonna,
that's, at some point, that will happen.
think of things that you don't know.
Yeah,
or
I
they
mean,
know.
it's, yeah,
And that was suggested.
Yeah,
Summer.
yeah, I think that would go a long way to.
who's most knowledgeable, that's somebody that needs the service, yeah.
Okay,
Input and expertise is important.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think we also need to consider that we're talking about accessibility for accessibility's sake, not based on like the numbers of people who are using these facilities, because these facilities, as we know, provide barriers. Because people with disabilities have shown up at these last couple of meetings does not prove that we are somehow accessible or even close to that. We're just simply not accessible.
Just to be a thing, that within the, you know, the independent living community, when we will hear business owners say, why do I need a ramp? Nobody with a disability comes here, yeah, because
Well,
you can't get in.
We need to play, we need to. It's flawed logic.
Right?
okay.
Thank you. Building
All set.
committee, here you come.
The other, one of the other issues we wanted to talk about was drainage issues here and what's going on that side of the building. And with the water that's coming into down in there, and some of it showed up over here. Think that, Jim and I have talked a little bit. He had an idea that, you know, need to regrade some out there. I
No,
was looking at that manhole cover, probably put a
all you gotta do,
riser ring on it.
all you gotta do is look at it out there, and you can see that from the parking lot where the curb cut, or where the pump is,
No,
it slopes back to the building. I
Yep.
mean, and there's a trough, probably that deep, the water's come off the roof. And so it lays right there, because I went out when, Megan, when you come and got me, and we were flooded down here. And that trough was right full of water, and it was froze where it had to make the corner.
yeah,
But it, I mean, I think, just, eave belts across the boardroom and around that utility building, so we can dump it out
yeah.
into the parking lot, rather than it just laying right here, because just, I said, it goes down through and.
Well, several of us have had the opportunity to clean up flooding down here that was real
Well, that was a
flooding
while, yeah.
a couple summers ago.
Yeah.
So we understand.
Yeah, I mean, I said, I don't think it's an expensive thing to do. Maybe it won't do a thing, but I gotta believe it would. But
Worth a shot.
just, it makes sense. Get the water away from the building.
What we can do right now.
Did you have any other building issues that you
I
wanted?
thought there was another one that.
We're gonna have to do something about that.
Well, the drainage issue is gonna be talked about by the building committee too. But I don't remember, there was a third item I thought we had.
Heating.
Do the parking lot.
Heating, cooling.
No,
No, well, they mentioned that, who put the handicap? Who striped the parking lot?
I think the village did it once it got paved.
Yeah.
DPW did,
That's who striped that.
yeah,
And so I can see what they're saying is that you got a handicap parking spot. And then you've got a broken line on each side of those that's this wide. And what they're saying is take the one that's on the outside, bring it to the middle, make it this wide. And now there's room for you to get out. But I gotta believe that when we did it, it wasn't done
I don't know, I will have to look
According
at the
to-
standard,
to a standard.
so.
Okay, so that was the other thing that they had brought up.
So that's,
The standard is outside of the building and meter reference. So that way you have double band access.
All the ones that are outside the.
Yeah, which would have been done by the same folk.
It's been like that for years.
okay, Next item on the agenda is to, how we're gonna handle flag requests for the municipal flagpoles. This is about the both flagpoles.
They're both jointly owned.
Well, yeah, they're jointly owned, they're both municipal flagpoles. Obviously, the issue was about, how we handled, the pride flag. After we went back and did some research on it, we found that, the resolution that had passed was for a specific day on a specific date in a specific year to fly it. So that became an issue once, the 250th anniversary flag came down. I asked our attorney to provide, do some research. I shared that with you. I think hopefully you shared it with everybody.
Yeah, I sent it to. everybody.
There's some good ideas here. From the Trumansburg, from the town of Danby, from the village, or from the city of Watertown. There's, New Rochelle, stuck together here. So, we need to decide what direction we're gonna go with this, how we're gonna handle this. There's some great ideas here, I think, depending on where you wanna go. And what your thoughts are.
Things keep coming up and the comments keep getting made, things keep coming up. Probably develop a flagpole policy and follow. So.
I think that's the easiest thing to do.
Between the two of us, or the two, we should be able to, put together a policy and go with that.
How would you like to proceed?
However, just again, if you wanna have, I don't know, do you want the building committee to do that also?
I don't know,
Or, huh?
You were thinking that?
The building committee might like to have.
Well, you got us busy.
It, yeah.
You willing to go that way?
I think in order to resolve issues down the road, it just makes it simpler if it's got a policy in place.
It should be in
Follow the
writing.
policy.
No,
There it is.
there's no question it should be in writing, and I think a lot of us assumed at one point it was, but that was not the case. So,
Yeah, it's gotta be something other than somebody coming in the door and say, hey, would you put this flag up for us? And next thing you know, it's up.
well, that's my biggest concern is that, there's a lot of other interests out there that are, may not be, we may not be interested in as a group, so.
And can I just clarify that the pride flag, I'm not gonna talk about this year, but in years past, the pride flag didn't just go up because an interest group wanted it. It went up because of the resolutions, at least in 2019, it went up because of the resolution.
That's what
So it wasn't like a random.
No, but that's what I said, and that's what we know.
Yeah.
And we can reference that it was for a specific,
So it's kind of like, in some ways, the pride flag stands aside from the overall issue, which I think you just said. The overall issue of how we want to treat our joint.
well, it's all flags, it's all flags.
Yeah,
Because there was a process and we put it into place through a resolution.
So, I would say it's not, that's what kind of brought it home, but, I think that, it caused us to focus on what was actually decided back in 2019. And then, so we need to absolutely advocate for a policy that handles all
agree.
Makes it clearer.
of it. Okay,
And we got some examples.
I guess, the building committee, it's been decided, we'll come up with something.
The building committee's gonna be busy.
When do you want to meet?
The building committee definitely got busy with the handicap access stuff. I thought Anna had thrown out some, because we've been talking about some other stuff. Didn't you throw out some dates for building committee to meet sometime
I believe.
next week, first week of August, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it's the 6th.
The 6th?
August 6th, it's Wednesday.
No, Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Who's
Get
the
it?
building committee for you guys?
The supervisor, the mayor, the
Exterminator. Building committee,
I got building committee at 11 o'clock on the 6th. Is that what you put out there?
That's why he's looking at his calendar.
Why we're not.
Deputy mayor, and deputy, huh?
No, she said, that's why he's looking at the calendar. I say, yeah, and we're not.
Yeah. August 6th is our next one, so, okay,
Tell me to use my analytical skills, Randy.
next item.
Too mathematical.
Next item on the agenda is an update on the recreation upgrades, splash pad, basketball court, playground.
We've submitted all the documentation for the contract to, Parks and Recreation for our contract there. She was gonna review everything and hopefully they're working on a contract for us.
Megan, who's doing, it's going to bid, right?
It will when we get a
No.
contract.
Once you get a contract set up?
And if we did it before that, we'd be doing it.
No, well, I didn't know where you were in the process. They're slow in coming.
Documents we needed to submit prior to them generating a contract. So we've done that and submitted them.
Okay,
So we're just waiting for the state to generate a contract.
And once that happens, given timing, would it be constructed soon, or would it be next season?
And who gets the contract.
I mean, depends on the contract.
Depends on when we get a contract.
Got it.
And when we are able to bid it out. And the availability of contractors.
Yeah, that's key.
So we really are at the mercy of the state right now.
Is there a general, I mean, not to get ahead of the game, but is there a general, like, timeline it takes typically to install, like the splash pad part of it?
Yeah, depends on
You
the
know,
contract.
the contractors.
Ogdensburg worked on there for 3 years, so to put that in perspective.
That's not.
Lord, really?
Yeah, they got their grant 3 years ago. It doesn't happen overnight.
so
Well, we all know that.
So, yeah,
It
it
is-
just depends on the contract, depends on weather, it depends on.
Yeah, no, but just the process of installing a splash pad is not inherently a 3-year process.
No. Once it starts, from start to finish, the actual construction, it's not.
So-
long.
That's all I'm trying to get.
Again,
That
depends
was
on
the question.
the contractor and the availability.
And I would think soon, whether,
Yeah, weather, yeah.
for sure. Got it. Thank you.
So in the grant, is there a timeline where this is going to be done by this date? Is it 3 years? I mean, how long?
But we have years to do it.
Yeah. I know when I submitted it, I did it as a 2-year project. That was just my application.
Right, thinking we'd be
Right.
ready to within that.
So it's safe to say.
I don't recall off the top of my head
Okay.
the term of the contract, but I can find out for you.
Safe
We
to
have
say,
time.
probably nothing gonna happen in this calendar year. It's more apt to be in more apt to be in
I don't
27.
think we can say that at this point.
And doesn't the clock start when the contract is signed also?
Okay.
It
Sort of.
depends on the agency actually and how they do it. I don't know,
Okay.
if we were asked about a start date. I don't recall. They're all, each state department handles their contracts differently. So I have not worked with Parks and Rec before on a grant, so I don't know if, we haven't seen the contract. So I don't.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you don't have no way of knowing. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Any other questions for,
So our status with Taylor Park right now.
Right now, it's the car boat one right now.
the issues or permits from
DEC.
DEC and the health department about how we can,
Well, they need to determine what they wanna do in the future.
right, but, there are some issues that have already been brought to us about that. We're working with FEMA about addressing how we're going to proceed out there if, we're allowed to do something. But it's not gonna be cheap. That I can tell you.
Can't imagine that.
Based on the DC, but it's site visit, it depends on what we wanna do, but there's a big price tag difference between what we want to do.
Well, the Martin LaJudas has been looking at, doing what the recommendations are and, what it potential cost is, so.
That was based on the FEMA,
That was based on the FEMA.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I think DEC has a slightly different take. I mean, not a different
No, they
take, but
took-
they're looking at different things than
But they
FEMA.
took the guidance that were provided
Yep.
by DEC and went with that. That's how they worked on a plan.
It's dynamic.
I just,
For
you know,
sure.
alls I can tell you is that that's what they did was use the
Right.
information that we got through DEC. On what can happen there.
And it's the difference between a catastrophic event and what is normal events for the river too. I mean, I think,
It all plays into it.
yep,
So,
it all does. So,
anything else? Okay, next item, we all got the email, well, you got the letter that, Ryan Hughes is moving on. So we need to accept his resignation. On our side, because he's our employee.
we're so moved, but with that, yeah,
Yeah,
we
with-
appreciate,
yeah.
regret, with regret, there you go. I think that he's been really great and a good team player for Megan, and we appreciate that his time. And we're excited for him as he moves on to new places.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the next item is to approve the hire of a new recreation employee. I couldn't put the name on here until, Megan had gotten an approval, on the offer, and he had been interviewed, as part of the process. Owen Kenna. So I need, approval to hire him.
So moved.
Is,
And he will start immediately.
and
Like tomorrow.
great. To replace,
Ryan,
Right, yeah,
ultimately.
but ultimately, and there's gotta be an overlap. He's gotta get some training and, Ryan.
so this was
is-
the already new hire that. we
No,
looked
that,
at.
no,
No,
that
this is the
happened
other-
at
there
the
were
end
two-
of June.
Thank you. This is the clarification I'm
It
looking
was a
for.
toss up between
The
two people.
pool was strong.
Got it. Okay, so we are already fortunately in a position to
Yeah.
fill this spot.
Good news.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, good to go.
When is Ryan's last day?
Officially, he will be working, August 12th, but he already has approval.
Yeah.
For his wedding and honeymoon, so officially his last day is the end of August.
But
But he has
the last
time to
working day
use,
is the
Next
12th.
working day is August 12th.
August 12th.
he has time to
Quicker than
use.
you think.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Well,
Okay.
Congratulations to him, lots of friends.
And that's the end of our agenda. I don't have anything for executive. No? What do you want to say?
I asked you about the swimming pool. I know it's not your review, but I just think it's important that with Taylor Park still being in flux, that, something be available for families to swim. And we had the pool last year at Camp Central. And then without a lot of transparency, there wasn't much discussion about why that wasn't available again this summer.
They're under construction.
It's under construction.
Right.
And they unilaterally chose to do that.
Oh, I know, and I know, that's what I'm saying, I know this isn't anything to do with the town and the village, but like April, May, June, I kept calling, trying to find out when they were gonna have it again, and I never got any call back, and I sent a letter to all the school board members,
It's all on the school board.
right? But I'm just saying, but as the rec department, is there some plan B? I know SUNY Canton was, this isn't about me, I'm thinking about how many families I saw use the Canton school facility, which when they went out for bid, they're gonna be public hours, it's gonna be, and even all winter before this issue came up, there was no public hours at one summer ended. And I know I'm
Can't-
speaking to the wrong board, but as far as summer recreation goes, I don't think we can count on them. And I just wonder if there's a plan to either find, you know, another arrangement with maybe St. Lawrence or SUNY Camden, and I'm not talking about me, I can use both those facilities. But I'm thinking about people that don't have access or transportation or a camp that they can swim in or whatever. I saw a lot of families that really it really could have used that and were enjoying that last year. So I'm just hopeful that that can be, you know, a priority. We had a lot of hot weather and a lot of kids, it's a short season up here and a lot of kids don't get that opportunity.
So
I can't say what the future is gonna be for that operation. You know, there's a lot of things in flux, and that's all I can say.
And the rec committee is all here and we heard you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
So, okay, I need a motion, Barb.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
To adjourn?
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
I just.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll keep them out. Well,